Disclaimer: this story contains mature themes intended for adult viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. His fingers brushed lightly against my back as I stood before the mirror, pretending to fix my hair, but my heart was already racing. I felt the soft graze of his touch where the zipper of my dress had gotten stuck, a teasing warmth that lingered longer than necessary. His breath was just behind my ear, warm and deliberate, and it made my shoulders tense in the sweetest way. We were alone, no noise, no one watching, just the two of us and the quiet air that suddenly felt too thick to breathe. I caught his reflection in the mirror. His eyes were already on me, heavy with that look I knew too well, the one that made my pulse skip. "Hold still," he murmured, his voice low, his fingers tracing the fabric, not rushing to fix anything at all. My lips parted, unsure if I wanted to move away or lean in closer. The zipper was just an excuse. I could feel it in the way his thumb lingered on my skin, the way he angled closer, not touching me fully yet making sure I felt every inch of his presence. I met his gaze in the glass again, half a smile, half a challenge, and something about that tiny curve of his mouth sent a shiver down my spine. His hand slid a little lower, not hurried, just enough to make my breath catch. My palms pressed against the cool wood of the dressing table as I steadied myself, trying not to let him see how fast my chest was rising. It wasn't just a zipper anymore. It was the space between us shrinking, the silence growing heavy, the question lingering unspoken: would I stop him, or would I let the moment unfold? I didn't move. Neither did he. The room was quiet, but my heartbeat was loud enough to drown it all. And then, he leaned in just a little closer, his reflection filling the mirror behind me. His breath lingered against my neck, warm enough to make my skin tingle. The zipper was still halfway down, but neither of us cared about that anymore. His fingers traced a slow line up my spine, just enough to make me arch ever so slightly. "You always make the simplest things feel dangerous," I whispered, trying to sound steady, but my voice betrayed the tremor running through me. He chuckled softly, that low sound that always carried a meaning beyond his words. "Maybe it's because you always leave them half undone," he said, his lips brushing the shell of my ear as if his words were meant for only that tiny space between us. I caught his gaze again in the mirror, dark, steady, and far too aware of the game we were playing. My hand reached back, lightly touching his wrist as if to stop him, but instead I ended up pulling him closer. "Is that what you think this is? A game?" I murmured, my reflection daring him to answer. He didn't. Not with words, anyway. His fingers tightened slightly at my waist, and his other hand pressed against the table beside mine, caging me in without force. The silence stretched, filled with the sound of our breathing, the faint rustle of my dress, the distant hum of the night outside. There was something else behind his eyes tonight, something heavier than just teasing. A secret? A thought he wasn't sharing? "You're quiet," I said finally, tilting my head just enough for our cheeks to brush. "What are you not telling me?" His lips curved, but his answer was a whisper, barely audible. "Some things are better felt first, then spoken." It sent a thrill straight through me, not because I understood, but because I didn't. Not fully. He let the words hang, his thumb tracing small circles at my hip, his presence overwhelming without ever crossing the line we both knew he was capable of crossing. The mirror caught everything, his intent, my hesitation, the charged air between us. And just as I was about to turn, to demand what he meant, his hand slid the zipper 1 inch lower. His hand lingered at my waist, fingers brushing slow circles that felt both comforting and dangerous. The zipper rested lower now, the fabric clinging to me in places it shouldn't. My reflection showed flushed cheeks, parted lips, and a man behind me who wasn't just teasing anymore. He was watching, reading every twitch of my breath like a confession. "Why are you looking at me like that?" I whispered, though I already knew. His eyes didn't move from mine in the mirror. "Because you've been different lately," he said softly, almost too calm. "Your smile when your phone buzzes, the late messages, the way you dress when you say you're meeting a friend." My heart skipped, Too fast, too loud, and I turned slightly, just enough to meet his gaze without the mirror between us. You think I'm hiding something? I tried to sound amused, but the quiver betrayed me. His thumb traced the small of my back, the same spot he had claimed 100 times before, only now it felt like a question. He leaned in, his lips a breath away from my ear. Maybe I want to know if you miss how it used to feel, when you didn't flinch if someone looked too long. There it was, jealousy, wrapped in heat. Not angry, not cruel, just there, simmering. I exhaled slowly, my fingers curling over the edge of the dressing table. And what if I do miss it? What if I want to feel that fire again? The words slipped out before I could tame them. They hung between us, thick as the scent of his cologne and the faint buzz of my phone on the bed behind us. His hand tightened on my hip, not enough to hurt, but enough to claim. Then maybe I should remind you, he murmured, his voice carrying that weight, that daring promise. But only if you're ready to look at yourself while I do. My pulse raced. There was something unspoken beneath it all, not just desire, but a storm of suspicion, of wanting to be wanted more fiercely than anyone else dared. I didn't answer. Not yet. I just let the mirror hold our secrets a little longer. His fingertips pressed just a little harder now, tracing along my side as if he owned every inch of it. The mirror caught everything, his breath grazing the back of my neck, my chest rising faster than it should, the space between our bodies closing with every stolen second. The room felt too quiet, too aware, the faint buzz of my phone still glowing behind us like an unspoken witness. Tell me, he whispered, voice low and thick, does he make you shiver like this? My heart slammed against my ribs. I swallowed hard, feeling the heat rush to my face, unsure if I should pull away or lean back into him. There is no one, I managed, though even I wasn't sure if I sounded convincing. His hand slid lower, fingers grazing the edge of my thigh through the thin fabric. My breath hitched, and I gripped the dressing table tighter. Then why do I feel like I'm fighting for your attention? He murmured, his eyes locked with mine in the mirror, sharp, hungry, and laced with something that wasn't just jealousy, it was a challenge. The air was thick with what neither of us said. My dress was slipping further, his thumb brushing the bare skin at my hip now. If you wanted my attention, I whispered back, you already have it. It came out half a dare, half a confession. He leaned in, lips just grazing my ear, and for a heartbeat the world outside disappeared. No phone, no suspicion, no past, just the reflection of two people on the verge of breaking the last inch of distance. I could feel the question in his touch. Would I stop him, or let him remind me of what I claimed I hadn't forgotten? The doorknob turned faintly in the background. A sound. A pause. We both froze, his breath caught against my skin, my heart beat loud enough to drown the silence. Whoever was on the other side, if anyone, was about to find us like this. His hand didn't move away. Neither did I. The soft creak of the doorknob sent a rush of cold air through my veins, but neither of us moved. His hand stayed at my hip, warm and insistent, his chest pressed closer to my back as if shielding me from whoever might walk in. The door never opened, it clicked faintly and fell silent again, leaving the room heavy with the sound of our breaths. See, he whispered against my ear, his voice a mix of warning and want. Even the walls want to know what we're hiding. My fingers tightened on the edge of the table. I could feel my pulse everywhere, at my throat, in my wrists, in the space where his thumb now traced slow circles over bare skin. You're not being fair, I whispered, trying to sound firm, but my voice faltered when his other hand slid up the side of my arm, pulling me just slightly closer. Fairness stopped the moment you started looking over your shoulder, he murmured, lips almost brushing my neck. The words stung because they were laced with truth and heat. I turned my head, just enough that our cheeks touched. And what if I wanted to be caught? The words left me before I could take them back. His grip shifted, firmer now, his breath catching as though I had just thrown fuel onto an already dangerous fire. He spun me gently, enough so I faced him now, our bodies barely an inch apart. The mirror behind us caught the scene, my dress clinging, my shoulders bare, his hands still hovering as if unsure whether to claim or question. "Do you want that?" he asked, voice low, eyes searching mine. "To be seen? To be reminded?" I didn't answer, not with words. My hand reached for his collar instead, fingers curling into the fabric as if that small tug would bridge the final distance. His lips ghosted over mine, not quite touching, letting the tension stretch until it ached. Then came the sound, the faint buzz of a message on my phone, the one he had seen earlier. His eyes flicked past me for just a second, and that second changed the air between us. "Is it him again?" he asked, not accusing, not angry, just there, raw and cutting. I shook my head, but the hesitation was enough. "There is no him," I said, quieter this time. His hand moved to my jaw, thumb brushing my lower lip. "Then let's make sure he never even exists," he whispered, the promise thick in his voice, his body finally closing the last inch between us. Outside, the hallway was silent, but inside, everything was loud. His hands no longer hovered, they claimed, tracing the curve of my waist and drawing me flush against him. The air between us finally broke, replaced by the warmth of his breath on my lips, the quiet surrender in the way my fingers gripped his shirt. Every whisper from before became a spark now, igniting in the closeness that neither of us was willing to stop. His forehead pressed to mine, and for a moment, the world outside that room ceased to matter. No phone, no questions, no shadows in the hallway. "I don't care who calls, who texts," he murmured, voice thick with the ache of everything unsaid. "Right now, I just need to know it's still me who makes you tremble." "You always have," I whispered, the truth slipping out like a breath I had been holding too long. His mouth brushed mine, not rushed, not rough, but deep, slow, and filled with the weight of weeks of silence finally breaking. My back arched into him, and the mirror behind us caught the moment in perfect, undeniable detail. Two people forgetting pride, forgetting suspicion, choosing to burn instead of doubt. Then the knock came, sharp, deliberate, and unmistakable. We froze, still pressed together, our hearts pounding as one. "You expecting someone?" he asked, a hint of steel in his tone now. I shook my head slowly, eyes wide. The knock came again, followed by a voice, low, familiar. It was his best friend. "Forgot my keys," the voice said casually through the door. "You left them at my place last night." My husband's eyes flicked to mine, a storm of realization and something darker brewing behind them. His hands didn't fall away, though, they tightened, holding me as if the truth in that one sentence might slip through my fingers if he let go. The tension between us shifted, still burning, but now laced with a different kind of fire. One that asked a new question without words. Was this moment ours alone, or part of something bigger I hadn't dared to admit? The knock faded, and for a heartbeat, it felt like the world held its breath. His hand still gripped my waist, fingers steady now, not with anger but with something deeper, something that wanted to understand. I searched his eyes, the storm still there but softening around the edges. "It's not what you think," I whispered, voice quiet but steady. "Keys or no keys, there's no one else here but you." He exhaled, the tension in his shoulders easing as he rested his forehead against mine. "Then let's keep it that way," he murmured, the warmth returning to his voice. "I don't want to lose this, lose us, over shadows in the hallway." My fingers traced the line of his jaw, the same one I had memorized 100 times, and this time, there was no rush, just a slow pull back into what we almost let slip away. His lips found mine again, softer now, full of promise instead of doubt. The mirror caught it all, not just the heat, but the quiet forgiveness building between us, the way his thumb brushed my cheek as if to erase every moment of uncertainty. "Next time," I said with a faint smile, "maybe just ask before you assume." He chuckled under his breath, pulling me a little closer. "Next time," he echoed, "I'll just make sure I'm the only one who gets to make you blush like that." The hallway grew silent again, the door untouched. Whatever lingered outside no longer mattered. What mattered was this, his arms around me, the warmth of his breath, the slow steady heartbeat against my chest. We stayed there a moment longer, letting the world wait while we remembered who we were when no one else was looking.